Um, I'd have to say the teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Crotty. She was very helpful when I was going through stuff, and she had a lot of good advice.
I'll say the teacher that impacted me the most is Miss Sonnenfeld. She's taught me to become a great leader.
The teacher that impacted me the most would be Miss Tassios because she was very loving and she was like a parent.
Mr. Nelson impacted me the most because he helped me fine-tune my creative abilities, and he really sparked my interest in yearbook and publishing.
The teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Smith because she really impacted my life with her stories, and I actually got to know her as a teacher.
The teacher that impacted me the most would probably be Miss Walker. When I first came to Fitz, she was the one teacher that kind of helped me move up in all my classes because no one else would move me up.
The teacher that impacted me the most has to be Miss Crotty, just because she teaches you how to work really hard for something to get a good grade or anything else like that.
The teacher who impacted me the most was Miss Crotty because she helped me when I was going through a bad time.
The teacher that impacted me the most would be Miss Crotty because she told us to work hard and just believe in ourselves.
The teacher that impacted me the most is Miss Smith because she just taught me a lot about life and TV production.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most is probably Miss Cassage, just because of what she taught me and how caring she was.
The teacher that impacted me the most would probably be Miss Smith, because she entrusted me to go to Tennessee with her and some other students.
The teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Sonnenfeld because she always brings positive energy, and every time I walk in her classroom, I always leave feeling great and I can tell her anything.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Sonnenfeld because she always had a positive attitude and she made class fun every day but also taught us something.
Mr. Bierman impacted me the most because I come from a different country with a goal making a better life, so he just helping for me.
The teacher that impacted me most was probably Miss Cassage because she helped me with a lot and she taught me a lot too. So,
Mrs. Cost impacted me through all my high school years because she was nice and cool.
Which Fitzgerald teacher impacted me the most? It has to be Miss Cassage because she always was on me about my work and I did it.
The teacher that impacted me the most, I would say, is Mr. Gray, probably because I like sports and we talk about sports a lot during class.
The teacher that had the best impact on me was Miss Tassios because she was understanding throughout the whole time I had Spanish with her, and I could always come to her for advice or guidance.
The teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Sonnenfeld because she was always there for me when I needed her.
The teacher that impacted me the most would be Shakespeare because he took me in as like his own child.
Miss Brannigan. I like the Miss Brannigan. She really helped me a lot and pushing me away for everything tried.
Miss Mulligan impacted me the most because she just influenced me to be a good student.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most will be Mr. Wynn. Even though he's new, he really tries hard to help students get where they want to be.
I would say Miss Wolford because she encouraged me to do my work every day, and she also helped me out after school, staying after school and helped me out with my homework and stuff like that. And so I would say she is the best teacher that encouraged me the most in Fitzgerald High School.
Miss Sonnenfeld because she's always there for everybody and has a great impact on our lives.
Teacher here at Fitzgerald that impacted me the most has to be Mrs. Sonnenfeld. She's always been there for me. I've had her every year so far, and she's just a great person all around.
The teacher who impacted me the most was Miss Crotty because she's so energetic and I love her positivity.
The teacher that's impacted me the most would have to be Miss Smith because she always encourages me to do my best.
I would say Miss Sonnenfeld because Miss Sonnenfeld is a very positive person, and anytime I needed somebody to talk to or to lean on, she was there.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most would be, it would have to be Miss Holstein because she was there for a lot of things that I was going through.
The teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Blackman because she has a very positive energy around her, and she also gives good advice.
teacher that impacted me the most would be Mr. Gray because helped me become a better athlete.
Miss Kasaj, because she's so caring. She cares what you do.
The Fitzgerald teacher that influenced me the most was Miss Fletcher because she helped me try my best.
The teacher that's impacted me the most at Fitzgerald High School would probably be Miss Sonnenfeld, just because she's such a great teacher, and not only in terms of academics, but in terms of how to be a good person. And
I would probably have to say Mrs. Cafagna because she's always like there for me with my problems and stuff.
The teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Kasaj because she fueled my enjoyment of, physics and a lot of the math majors I ended up enjoying for most of the year.
Teacher that most impacted me the most, I would say Miss Sonnenfeld because she's strong and she's a great teacher. She's taught us a lot.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most, probably Miss Cost, to be honest. She's awesome and she's just always been there when I need her help.
I'd say all my teachers have really helped me out a lot. Every teacher at this school really shows interest in you as a person, and I just think that's really great. But if I had to pick, I'd say probably Miss Cost. She's really helped me out. She's really inspired me to do more with my life.
I think Miss Cost has impacted me the most because I've seen her the most.
One Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most is Miss Van Gorder because I had her in middle school and she was always really helpful and there for me, and she was just one of the funniest teachers I had.
The teacher that impacted me the most is Mr. Kamik because he was just very helpful.
I'd probably say Mrs. Wolfert because her teaching style allows the subjects she teaches to be very concise and easy.
Miss Sonnenfeld because she really helped me a lot.
Mr. Nelson because he was just a really cool teacher to hang out with. Yeah.
The teacher that impacted me the most has been Miss Sunny. She really changed me for the better.
The teacher that impacted me the most would be Miss Rubel because she's like the best math teacher ever.
Miss Tacios because he taught me how to speak Spanish.
The teacher that impacted me the most is Mr. Rowland because he pushed every one of his students to be the best that they could, and he was always just a great teacher and a friend.
Mr. Bierman because he helped me a lot.
Teacher who impacted me the most was Miss Blackman because she's really down to earth and really easy to talk to.
Miss Mulligan and Mr. Bierman because they encouraged me positively.
Mrs. Van Gorder, like no matter what happens, you can just go to her and she'll be there for you.
I think Miss Van Gorder impacted me the most because I always wanted to take up something interesting like foreign language, and through Chinese it helped me find another skill that will be useful later on.
Fitzgerald's teacher that impacted me the most is Mr. Romaine. He was really nice and he helped me out with a lot of stuff when I couldn't keep up.
What Fitzgerald teacher impacted me the most is I say Miss Sonnenfeld because she always got a good mood. She put me in a good mood every time I see her and we speak.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most was probably Miss Fletcher.
I would say Miss Walker because I feel like she was never scared to say what she had to say, and I just feel like she made it known. She was just a good teacher to me.
I feel like it's Miss Johnson because I was actually looking into medicine, and obviously in order to be an optometrist there are certain type of medicines you need to know, and I feel like she helped me towards that.
The teacher that probably most influenced me was probably Miss Sonnenfeld because she always motivated me and pushed me like a mother.
Most teacher that impacted me the most would probably be karate because for some reason I just see her as a mom.
Miss Sonnenfeld impacted me the most because she brought me up when I was always feeling down, and she just taught me life about the future, what to prepare myself for.
The teacher from here that impacted me the most was Mr. Smith because he's like a father figure and he's been my coach for the last 4 years of my life.
I'm going to say Mr. Nelson impacted me the most because he is nice and always pushed me to do the best.
Miss Van Gorder, she was really nice to me. She tried to understand. She was patient.
Of all the teachers, Mr. Nelson, because I've had him for many years, and he's impacted me a lot. He's helped me, and to him, now I know I'm going to college and all.
I'd have to say Miss Sonnenfeld because she's very kind and nice.
The teacher that impacted me the most is Mr. McKay because he's very influential. He's always there for me when I need him, and he's just a good person to talk to.
Miss Kasaj because she always told me not to cheat and stuff.
But the Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most would be Mr. Rowland, even though he retired last year, because that was my band teacher, and you have to deal with all different types of people in band, and I feel like he well-rounded me.
My favorite Fitzgerald teacher is Miss Kasaj because she is nice.
I'd say Mr. Meyer. He taught me a lot.
I would say Miss Homich impacted me the most in high school because she helped me a lot and she wrote me a lot of letter of recommendations to help me be successful, and she realized my potential.
Miss Mulligan. I would say Miss Mulligan because she is like really funny and she helped me a lot with my stuff.
Miss Gafania, because she showed me that to believe in myself and anything I put my mind to, I could do it.
Miss Milf, and she cultivated my skills for working with cameras and different TV production softwares.
The teacher that impacted me the most is Miss Geiger and Miss Brennigan because they've been there since freshman year.
Well, for a teacher or member that impacted me the most, there's actually quite a few. There is Mr. Walsh, Miss Seinfeld. What's another one? I think those are the two main ones. And I think because, well, I noticed Miss Seinfeld helped me when I had her for like 3 classes. She kind of is really good at teaching, also makes the class fun and interesting. And I know for sure that my other teacher, Mr. Walsh, he got jokes. That's all I gotta say.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most would be Mrs. Sonnenfeld because I've had her for 2 years. I've had her since sophomore year, and she's been one of the most, I don't know, just caring and like influential people I've ever met.
Miss Fletcher impacted me the most because she's inspiring and she's laid back and cool, and she's been one of my favorite teachers this senior year.
The teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Lametta because she inspired me in art and she helped me get better at it.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most is Mrs. Davis because she's always been there for me and she pushes me to all the best of my ability, and she's just a down-to-earth person.
The teacher that impacted me the most would be Miss Fletcher, and she's just always there for me and she's really inspirational.
The teacher that most impacted me was Ms. Van Gorder because she helps me, and made me a better person.
I would say Miss Mulligan is the teacher that impacted me most because she put me in a leadership position and she's really pushed me to do my best throughout high school.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most would have to be Miss Lametta because she's very understanding and I could talk to her about anything that was happening outside of school.
The teacher that impacted me the most was Mr. Nguyen because he helped me with my work.
The teacher that most impacted me was Mr. McKay because he would always push me hard to be my best.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most was Mr. Bierman, my English teacher. He's the one who really taught me how to be me and how can I adapt to this new environment to be more involved in this community.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most was probably Miss Mulligan because she's such an inspiration and you can really be yourself around her without feeling judged.
The teacher that impacted me most was probably Miss Mulligan because she actually believed in me and she always was telling me keep going, never back up, and if you have a dream, just chase it.
My teacher impacted me for Mr. Bierman
He helped me a lot for teaching me my English, and he teach me a lot for stuff. My favorite teacher in Fitzgerald would be Mr. Woach. When I broke my leg, he was lenient with me with the grades and everything because of I couldn't do much. But over time, when it started to heal, I just started to walk during the first hour that I had with him.
Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most was Ms. Mulligan because she helped me be the best I can be, and she pushed me to work harder.
The teacher that impacted me the most is Miss Smith because she always helped me when I need it, and I can come to her for anything.
The teacher that impacted me the most would be Miss Sonnenfeld because she helped me through one of the toughest years of my high school career.
The teacher at Fitzgerald that impacted me the most is probably Mr. Rowland. He just helped me out throughout the years that he was still here and gave me a lot of life advice.
The teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Koss because she taught me that making mistakes was a part of life.
Mr. Wynn, because he encourages me to expand my business more and helps me, with like going through it and getting it all set up and everything.
The teacher that impacted me the most was probably Miss Cassage because she taught me to never give up even when I felt like I should.
Mr. Romaine, he makes sure that I stay on track because I tend to miss a lot of school.
The teacher that impacted me the most, I would have to say, is Mr. McKay, because he's so real and raw with the students. Like he says what's on his mind.
The teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Brannigan because I always felt like I could come to her and that she was always open to talk to.
I would say the teacher that impacted me the most here at Fitzgerald would be Miss Wolford. She pushed me and she allowed me to push a lot of things that I couldn't before I got here.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most was Mr. Nelson because he showed that you can be relaxed and still get stuff done.
A teacher at Fitzgerald that impacted me the most was Miss Rubel because she always encouraged me to stay positive and she always was a good support system.
My favorite Fitzgerald teacher is Miss Lumetta because she is very optimistic and very playful.
The teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Karate because she was easy to help me do all my work.
The teacher that impacted me the most was Mr. Queen because he challenges us and always pushes us to do our best.
I would say Mr. McDonald because he's a very good math teacher and then he could actually understand what he's teaching.
The teacher that impacted me the most at Fitz was Miss Crotty. She helps me prepare for my AP exam, which I'm really confident in accomplishing and doing well in.
One of the Fitzgerald teachers that impacted me the most was Miss Tassios. Like every day, she was telling me to keep going and push me to do better and never give up on what I'm doing.
The teacher that impacted me the most is probably Miss Sonnenfeld because she helped me realize who I am as a person and it's okay to be me.
I would say the teacher that impacted me the most was my gym teacher, Mr. Gray, because he got me into exercising more and staying in shape.
I would have to say Miss Cassage impacted me the most because she's a very good teacher and teaches the material very well.
The teacher that impacted me the most is Miss Tassios or Miss Mulligan because they was pushing me in their class to finish my work, and I like that.
The teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Mulligan because she's funny and helpful.
The teacher who impacted me the most was Miss Johnson because she always encouraged me to do better and never to give up.
I'd have to say the teacher that impacted me the most would be Miss Lametta because she is very inspirational and I love talking to her in class.
The teacher that impacted me the most at Fitzgerald was Mr. Queen since I learned a lot from him in history.
So basically it's hard to say that which teacher is best, and which teacher has more influences with me. I mean, all teachers are same, but most likely my English teacher, I mean, basically ESL teacher, Mr. Bierman. I had a great influences with him. I mean, he helped me a lot on every single thing.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most, I don't have one, but I had to say all of them because each one has taught me something differently, from a ninth grade English class to English 12.
The teacher that impacted me the most was probably Mr. Queen, because just the way he taught the class and how he was into it.
I'd have to say the teacher that impacted me the most is Miss Crotty, because how supportive she was for me and how much she helped me through things.
Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most, I say Mr. Kamik, because he actually helps me with like the field I want to work in with engineering. He also wrote me a letter of recommendation.
Truth be told, I really don't know, because it's a lot of teachers that impacted me. But if I had to choose the teacher the most, I would have to say between Miss Sonnenfeld and Miss Crotty.
Miss Tassios impacted me the most because she helped me understand another language.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most would be, I want to say Miss Sonnenfeld. I really do, because Miss Sonnenfeld is a loving teacher. She's worked with you a lot. She's just there for you whenever you need her. You know, she's really teacher friendly. You can talk to her about anything you want.
The most Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most is probably Mr. McKay, because she was my first freshman teacher, and he made me feel welcomed.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most, I would like to say Mr. Kamik, because of his, because over the past year, he's helped me grow from being one thing to another.
The teacher that impacted me most would be Miss Cassage, because I never really liked math, and she always pushed me to get my work done so I can pass.
The teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Karate, because she always looked out for me. She's been writing me to make sure that I graduate and pass all my classes.
I feel like Miss Koss impacted me the most because I just felt really comfortable in that class, and she was just such a nice teacher.
The teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Koss. She helped me a lot with English and just life in general.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Lumetta, because she was always there for me and she always helped me out with work. And
my favorite teacher who impacted me the most was Miss Smith and Mr. Bierman, because they both really helped me out on what I should be doing in the future.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Blackman. Like, she just gets me. Like, when I was doing bad and stuff, she would talk to me and make sure I was okay and everything.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most, it's a couple, so Miss Blackman, Miss Mulligan, Miss Koss. They're impacting me because they're always there to help you, and they just have a good spirit.
Which Fitzgerald teacher impacted me the most was Miss Sonnenfeld, because she was always there for me and she's always helping me with my work.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most is Miss Cafagna. That's because she's always been there for me since Chatterton.
The teacher that impacts me the most is McGuire, because when I first moved here, he was the first teacher that helped me here, and I got through a lot of things.
The teacher that impacted me most is Mr. Bierman, because Mr. Bierman is my best teacher.
The teacher that impacted me the most is Miss Van Gorder, because she made me who I am today, and she also inspired me to choose my career for my future.
The teacher that impacted me the most is Miss Smith, because she showed me a lot of stuff that I didn't know and I wanted to know about graphic design.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most is probably Mr. Brooks, because as you guys know, I am a singer and he's a choir teacher, so yeah.
Well, I think Miss Cassage impacted me the most because, well, she believed in me, even though I believed in myself, but it was because of her that I found my future career as an aerospace engineer or an astrospace engineer.
Teacher that impacted me the most would have to be Mr. Nguyen. He's able to make his class more enjoyable than others have. The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most would probably be Mr. Nelson because I loved the freedom that yearbook had, and it was very fun to be a part of that class year-round.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most was probably Miss Crotty because of how she interacted with her students.
The teacher that impacted me most is Ms. Kasaj because she's really caring.
The Fitzgerald teacher who impacted me the most was Ms. Katen. She helped me a lot. She helped me with the NHS thing and everything. In classroom, she was my best advisor.
I would have to say Ms. Mulligan because I've been with her for all of my high school career for 4 years, and she's taught me how to better myself and better myself as an actress.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most was Mr. Rowland because he always told me to keep going and keep pushing, and he pushed me to do things that I didn't want to do.
The teacher that impacted me the most here at Fitzgerald, I'd have to say is Mr. Kamik, because he taught me that there's more to engineering than just making things. You can actually benefit society as a whole.
My teacher that impacted me the most is Mr. Smith because he always encouraged me to do my best.
Mr. B probably impacted me the most because he always pushed me to go further than what I thought I could do.
I think the teacher who impacted me the most was Mr. Wynn. I liked having him as a teacher because he brought a different perspective than most of my other teachers because he didn't come from a teaching background, so he knows a lot about what it's going to be like when I go to college. I'm not going to go to college to be a teacher, so he can tell me a little bit more how it's going to be than most other teachers.
A teacher that impacted me the most was probably Miss Davis. When I had her junior year, she really helped me break out of my shell and become more confident.
The teacher that impacted me the most was probably Miss Sonnenfeld because I could talk to her about anything.
Fitzgerald teacher impacted me most is Mr. Pujusi because I have in like 4th semester and he's the nice teacher I have.
The teacher that impacted me the most is Mr. McGuire because he helped me a lot in my schoolwork.
Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most, I believe, is Ms. Kasaj because she helped me in a complicated subject, which is math, and she helped me a lot throughout the year.